In the dead of night, deep in the Sahara Desert, a secret US military base known as Bravo is shattered by an unexpected assault. Armed mercenaries storm the compound with precision and brutality, leaving guards lifeless on the sand. Their target is not money, not gold, but something far more dangerous: Project Pandora. Hidden within reinforced vaults, this experimental weapon is capable of unleashing death without destroying the world around it. Within minutes, the unthinkable happens. The weapon is stolen, disappearing into the hands of those who would use it for power, terror, and control. And as the echoes of gunfire fade, one truth becomes clear: the balance of global security has been broken. Before we dive into this thrilling story, make sure to like this video and subscribe so you don't miss the twists, betrayals, and shocking revelations ahead. Hours later, intelligence satellites capture faint traces of movement across the dunes. A rescue team is dispatched to Bravo, only to find nothing but ruins and silence. The gates are torn apart, laboratories burned, and every soldier stationed there lies dead. Amid the wreckage, one chilling detail emerges. The vault where Project Pandora was stored is empty. Panic spreads through the chain of command. This was not an ordinary weapon. It was a device that could silently wipe out entire populations, leaving buildings, tanks, and infrastructure untouched. A weapon designed to control fear itself. The discovery sends shockwaves to Washington. Phones ring at dawn, generals shout across secured lines, and whispers of betrayal stir inside the CIA. Someone knew exactly where Pandora was kept, and someone wanted it gone. Inside the dimly lit halls of Langley, the air is thick with tension. Senior officials gather around a long oak table, faces pale as classified reports are dropped in front of them. The truth is undeniable: Project Pandora has fallen into enemy hands, but the real fear lies not in what was stolen, but how. The assault on Base Bravo required insider knowledge, codes, schedules, blind spots, information only a handful of people in Washington could access. That means the CIA has been compromised. To make matters worse, intercepted transmissions reveal a chilling name resurfacing in the underworld: Anaconda. Once a decorated operative of America's most secret task force, now turned mercenary, he is believed to be negotiating with the most powerful cartel in Colombia. The director pounds the table. If Pandora reaches the cartels, the world will face terror like never before. And with that, the hunt begins, not just for the stolen weapon, but for the truth hidden deep inside their own agency. At 3:45 in the morning, the White House is awake. The president's voice cuts through a secured line, cold and unforgiving. "Stephen, listen carefully. In November, the world will be watching us. I don't care how you do it, but make this disappear, now." The order leaves no room for debate. The CIA director feels the weight of history pressing on his shoulders. Failure is not an option, yet the task seems impossible. An experimental weapon capable of mass slaughter has vanished, and time is running out. Every agent in the room knows what the president's words truly mean. Someone will be sacrificed, someone will be blamed, and someone must clean up the mess even if it costs their life. The clock has started ticking, and with it begins a desperate race against a threat that could rewrite the future of global power. Far from the chaos of Washington, John Lease thought his days of secret missions were behind him. A decorated operative of the CIA, he had stepped away from the shadows, hoping for a life of peace. But peace was never meant for men like him. As he boards a flight home from a family visit, a sealed envelope is delivered into his hands. Inside, a single order: return to Washington. Immediate clearance granted. Tactical transport authorized. Lease doesn't need further explanation. He knows that when the CIA comes knocking in the dead of night, the stakes are life or death. Within hours, he is escorted into the heart of Langley, where his old commanders await. "John," the director says with a heavy voice, "Pandora has been stolen, and we believe the man behind it is someone you once called a brother." The name echoes in the room like a curse: Bill Stenwick, Anaconda. Back on US soil, Lease is taken to a hangar where familiar faces await. Men he once fought beside in deserts, jungles, and city streets, soldiers bound not by blood, but by battles. Among them is Wolf, the hot-headed pilot who never lost his reckless grin, and Speed, a strategist whose calm demeanor often hid a razor-sharp instinct for survival. The reunion is brief, stripped of smiles and nostalgia. The mission ahead is too heavy for pleasantries. Classified documents are laid out, photographs of the Bravo massacre spread across the table. At the center of every lead stands one name, Anaconda. "You knew him best, John," Speed mutters. "Tell me straight, if Stenwick really has Pandora, what's his plan?" Lisa's eyes darken. "If Bill has it, he won't sell it for money. He'll use it for power, and God help us if he does." The team falls silent. What was once a brotherhood is now a battlefield, where loyalty and betrayal blur into one. The deeper Lise digs, the more unsettling the evidence becomes. Reports are missing, authorization papers erased, and mission files mysteriously altered. Someone high within the CIA is covering their tracks, and every clue points to an inside betrayal. In a closed-door meeting, Lise confronts the brass. "These orders, they were never mine. Someone rewrote history to make us the scapegoats." Silence fills the room, until a shaken officer finally whispers, "If the truth gets out, the agency collapses." It is a trap as old as espionage itself. Bury the truth and sacrifice the soldiers who carried it out. Lise realizes that he is not just hunting Pandora. He is fighting against his own agency, against powerful men who would rather see him dead than see the truth exposed. Trust becomes a luxury. Every ally could be an enemy. Every order could be a death sentence. And somewhere in the shadows, Anaconda is watching, waiting, pulling the strings. Deep in the Colombian highlands, far from government eyes, Bill Stenwick, now known only as Anaconda, sits across from the feared drug lord, Enrique Gutierrez. The cartel boss surrounds himself with armed guards, gold chains, and the scent of blood money. Yet tonight all eyes are fixed on the mysterious device resting in Anaconda's possession. "This," Anaconda declares, his voice calm yet venomous, "is the future of war. It kills armies, it silences villages, and leaves your empire untouched. For $10 million you won't just own power, you'll own fear itself." Gutierrez laughs skeptical. "I've heard promises before, gringo. Why should I trust you?" Anaconda leans closer, his eyes like steel. "Because by tomorrow, you will see death rain down without a single bullet fired. And then you'll understand." The cartel room falls silent. The deal is set. A demonstration will soon change everything. Among the cartel's inner circle sits a man they know as Nando, trusted advisor and loyal partner to Gutierrez. But Anaconda's smile widens as he turns his gaze toward him. "Tell me, Tom," he says coldly, "how long have you been lying to these men?" The room stiffens. Gutierrez frowns. "What are you talking about?" With a cruel laugh, Anaconda slams a dossier onto the table. Inside, photos, files, proof. Nando's true identity: Thomas Martinez, codename Raven, an undercover CIA operative who spent years climbing into the heart of the cartel. "You think your empire is untouchable?" Anaconda sneers. "This man has been feeding every secret back to Langley." Chaos erupts. Guns are drawn, accusations fly, and Raven desperately fights to explain himself. But Gutierrez's trust is shattered. The walls close in, and the agent who risked everything is suddenly branded a traitor in both worlds, hunted by the cartel and betrayed by his own agency's silence. In the remote hills outside Bogotá, the cartel gathers in silence. Villagers watch from a distance, unaware that their lives are about to be torn apart by a weapon no one truly understands. Anaconda stands with a small remote in his hand, the Pandora device secured within a green military case. "Watch closely," he tells Gutierrez and his lieutenants. "This is not theory, this is power." With a single code entered, a blinding flash erupts, silent, swift, merciless. Within seconds, every living soul in the village collapses, lifeless, their bodies untouched, their homes still standing. The livestock, the children, the elderly, all gone in an instant. Gutierrez steps forward, stunned. "Madre de Dios," he whispers as the truth dawns on him. This is not just another tool of war. It is a nightmare turned real. For the first time, the cartel truly believes. Pandora is no myth. It is the end. News breaks at dawn. Television screens across the globe flicker with horrific images from a small Colombian village, Agua Verde. Over 150 people lie dead in the streets, yet the houses, the vehicles, even the crops remain untouched. Reporters speak in hushed tones, struggling to explain the impossible. The Colombian government is shaken, their officials whispering of cartels, rebels, and foreign weapons. But the truth is darker. Pandora has been unleashed. In Washington, the president's staff scrambles to control the narrative. Press secretaries prepare statements, desperate to point fingers anywhere but inward. The world demands answers, and in the chaos, one phrase keeps returning: an American weapon. For the first time, the existence of Pandora is no longer a secret whispered in backrooms. It is a global scandal, and the CIA knows that if they cannot contain this nightmare, the next headline will be war. While the world reels from the massacre, Anaconda, Bill Stenwick, moves with the precision of a man playing both sides of the board. To Gutierrez and his cartel, he is the gringo genius delivering a new era of power. To the CIA, he is the ghost they created, the operative they trained, now turned into their most dangerous enemy. But Stenwick's ambitions go far beyond a simple payday. He knows the agency has branded him a traitor, and now he intends to expose their hypocrisy. Hidden files, erased orders, missions that never officially existed. He carries it all like a weapon, ready to unleash it when the time is right. Lise sees through it. This isn't about money, he tells his commanders. It's about revenge. Bill wants to burn the house down and watch both the cartel and the CIA choke in the smoke. The line between friend and foe is erased. Stenwick is no longer just selling terror. He is rewriting the rules of the game. With Pandora now proven and the world on edge, John Lise is thrust deep into the jungles of Colombia. Guided by scraps of intelligence and the faint trail left by Raven's last transmission, he moves like a ghost among cartel strongholds. Every step is a risk. Landmines buried in the soil, ambushes waiting in the shadows, eyes of the cartel watching from the tree line. The air is thick with danger, but Lise knows he cannot stop. Somewhere in these jungles, Stenwick is hiding, and Pandora is ticking like a silent bomb. Along the way, Lise dismantles outposts one by one. Silent kills, daring raids, and whispered interrogations bring him closer to the cartel's inner sanctum. Each victory is costly, each night darker than the last. Yet the closer he gets, the clearer the truth becomes. This is no longer just a mission. It is a personal war between brothers, bound by the past and divided by betrayal. The hunt tightens, and soon there will be no escape. At dawn, in the ruins of an abandoned cartel compound, the two men finally meet. John Lise and Bill Stenwick, once brothers in arms, now enemies bound by betrayal. The air is heavy with dust, the silence broken only by the distant hum of the jungle. "Look around you, John," Anaconda sneers. "This world doesn't care about heroes anymore. The agency trained us, used us, and then erased us. I just learned to play their game better than they did." Lise's eyes burn with fury. "You turned your back on everything we fought for. You became the very thing we swore to destroy." The fight erupts, brutal, raw, and unforgiving. Blades clash, fists strike, gunfire echoes through the compound. It is not just a battle of strength, but of ideologies. One man fighting for justice, the other for vengeance. At last, Lise gains the upper hand, forcing Stenwick to the ground. Breathing heavily, he hesitates, torn between duty and the ghost of friendship. Anaconda's mocking smile lingers even as the final blow is struck. The brotherhood is broken forever. With Anaconda defeated, John Lise retrieves the Pandora device. Its black casing hums faintly, as if alive, holding within it the power to erase entire nations. For a moment he stares at it, knowing that in the wrong hands, it would mean the end of millions of lives. Back in Washington, the agency wants it returned, filed away, hidden again in a vault, destined to be forgotten until the next crisis. But Lise has seen enough. Standing alone on the edge of the jungle, he makes his choice. With a final sequence of commands, he activates Pandora's self-destruction. The device collapses into silence, burning itself into ash. When he returns home, he is met with cold stares and empty words. The agency erases the truth, rewriting history once more. The official story says Pandora was never real, that the massacre in Colombia was the work of rebels. The world breathes a sigh of relief, never knowing how close it came to annihilation. And John Lees? He disappears into the shadows again, another ghost of a war the world will never remember, carrying the burden of the truth that can never be told. Before we close, remember to like, share, and subscribe, because more stories of betrayal, sacrifice, and courage are waiting to be uncovered.